Hello everyone, I am the Canadian Gaming Penguin. As part of the Make It Rain campaign, we have repeatable quests that we can do that have 3 different cutscenes that talk to 3 different NPCs in each of the different cutscenes, if that's not confusing, that we have to give suggestions to which minigame in the Gold Saucer that would be best for them. In this video, that is exactly what I'm going to be going through. And I will be starting with the one that is actually part of the Make It Rain campaign main quest line. And I have already accepted the quest here, but if you have not, you will need to speak with a chief attendant. Once you have, you will have the option of speaking with 3 different NPCs in 3 different locations. One over here in the Round Square, one over here in the Event Square, and one over here in the Wonder Square. Right here is where we have the main quest line, and this is where we're going to start in the Event Square, and we will see that we have all the answers already if you haven't already figured them out in the quest line. So if you hadn't figured them out, then you will be able to see the different dialogue when you do get the correct answer. And as I mentioned in the video yesterday, I'm not sure if you need to answer all of the questions right. I do know that you need to at least answer 1 right, or that was the lowest amount that I actually tested. I'm not going to test that again here at all. We'll just find out. Anyway, so talking to the Gold Saucer guide here, thank you for coming. Are you ready to begin your shift? And then you either say yes or no, and excellent. Our guests await your assistance. Haha, is that you, Kimiko? Of course I choose the character that I have problems saying my own name. So we have the Guildmaster of the Pugilist Guild, working as, Hammond is his name. Working as a guide, you say? Well, I could use some suggestions. You see, I'm having a terrible time choosing which game to play. In my younger days, I would impress the ladies with my vigorous pugilism, but I wonder if excelling at one of these amusements might have a similar effect. So, after we consider the answer to our, answer. Redundant much. Anyway, so we have the options of Dome and Mahjong, Kuffakur, or Triple Triad. Well, Triple Triad is a card game, Kuffakur is a punching game, and Dome and Mahjong is a tile game. The first, Mahjong and the Triple Triad, clearly use wit and not physical strength, and the Kuffakur is of course the correct answer. Oh ho! Why didn't I think of that? Stand aside, the Holy Fist needs to go and rack up a holy high score. Hammond seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. I can read. Kimiko, what brings you to the Gold Saucer? And we have the Gladiator Guild Master, or Guild Leader, Master, whatever, named Mila. Or however you say her name. I see, perhaps you might help me then. I needed some time away from the Colosseum, but even in play I hope to find ways to improve my blade work. Would any of these diversions serve such a role? As we consider the answer, we have the options of Any Way the Wind Blows, Crystal Tower Striker, or The Slice is Right. Well, Crystal Tower Striker is basically dropping a hammer on something. Any Way the Wind Blows comes down to a little bit of luck, aka RNG, and or avoiding things, but technically you don't have that option, you kind of get frozen in place. Thus, The Slice is Right, which is Jabingo. I'm totally butchering his name and forgetting it. Anyway, the dude that cuts the bamboo is dropped in different directions, and that will help you anticipate where the direction of the fall is going to be. So in that case, I guess that helps with your sword skills. Anticipation? Yeah, anyway, the answer is Slice is Right. Ah, so you must anticipate and avoid the sword strikes, yes? That sounds perfect, as she says. Mirla seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. I think I just called her Mirla, not Mila. Anyway, you work here, yes? If you have a moment, I could do with some advice. Of course, I haven't actually accepted the minor quest yet, so she doesn't actually know who I am. What kind of amusing things, and by the way, her name is Adalberta. What kind of amusing things do they have for a miner like me? I've spent endless hours clambering about mountains and such, so I can handle some jumping and climbing. Basically meaning she's agile. And as we consider the answer, might I suggest the Moogle's Paw, which is an arcade game where you basically press buttons that doesn't require any real movement at all, other than moving your hand or finger. And Leap of Faith is, of course, a jumping event, so that's probably the answer. And Lord of Verminion is, well, your minions fighting and you doing nothing other than giving them orders. So yeah, a Leap of Faith is, of course, the answer. Oh, that doesn't sound like a challenge. I'd say my time in craggy places puts me at an advantage, but I suppose we'll see. Adalberta seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. And then, of course, we will be evaluated by the NPC that was standing in that location to determine how well we did on our shift. Thank you, Mistress Miko. That should be sufficient for the moment. Now, as for the results of your performance, it seems every guest with whom you spoke was greatly enthused by your recommendations. A flawless display of service. You really must consider joining us as a full-time employee. But putting such matters aside, any effort made towards maintaining the saucer's reputation for hospitality is most appreciated. Pray collect your wages from the chief attendant at Entrance Square. And that, of course, means that we are done the quest, and so we will return back over to the chief attendant to collect the reward, and then start the quest yet again to do the other two quests. Chief attendant. Thank you for your continued efforts. Here is your payment as promised. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, or any further assistance you might provide during the campaign would be greatly appreciated. So we have the MGP voucher as rewarded and redeemable for 100 Manderville Gold Saucer Points, aka MGP. And so we have the Chief Attendant here, a guide to fun, appears eager to retain your services. These crowds show no sign of thinning. Might you be willing to brave another round of interaction with our guests? Naturally. Splendid, then I shall send you once more onto the breach. As of present, our most congested areas appear to be Event Square, Round Square, and Wonder Square. Report to the Saucer's guides in any of these three squares, and see to it that our visitors are catered to. So we are now here in the Round Square, over here, and yes, there is a gate up. I am trying to ignore it because it is my favorite one, Leap of Faith. Anyway, Gold Saucer Guide, thank you for coming. Are you ready to begin your shift? Of course I am. Excellent, our guests await your assistance. And we will see 3 different NPCs in this location. Oi, you're a guide, ain't ya? I need you to do some guiding. You see, I'm looking for a game to stack them points up swift-like, but I don't fancy prancing about or learning a bunch of rules. I can swing a mean hammer if that helps. As we consider the answer, and by the way, Gerald, there is the blacksmith who we know from doing the relic quests, and if you don't know him yet, well, you will soon enough. He's in the Black Shroud at somewhere located there anyway. So which attraction do you recommend? Crystal Tower Striker, The Slice is Right, or Triple Triad? Well, as I already explained, Crystal Tower Striker is a hammer dropping, and what do smiths do often with their smithing? Well, they use hammers, and clearly a Triple Triad and The Slice is Right is not going to help him one bit, so the Crystal Tower Striker is your correct answer. Now that sounds custom made for a master smith like me. Stand aside, it's time to loosen up the old swinging arm. Gerald seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. Ah, how pleasant to find a familiar face. Are you also come to enjoy respite from the world's demands? And we have the Arcanists Guild Master, whose name I'm not going to try to say, because it, well, is Arugadin and I butcher those names. Unless they're verbally spoken by the by a voice actor, I'm never going to be able to say them. but even then I might not be able to say them too, so there's that. Anyway, the opposite then. I was, in fact, in search of guidance, if you might indulge me. Which of these many attractions would you recommend for an artisan? For an arcanist, a game which challenges the mind would be most preferable. Or preferable. English. As we consider the answer, we have the options of Covaker, Cliffhanger, or Domaine Mahjong. Well, Cliffhanger is also a jumping gate, and you basically avoid bombs and stuff, so it's more of an adrenaline rush sort of thing. Covaker, as I mentioned before, is the punching thing, and Domaine Mahjong requires some intellect, or at least some wit, or at least some strategy. So, Domaine Mahjong. Yes, the need for a solid strategy appeals to me, and as a customs officer, I've become curious to learn more of the Far Eastern traditions. An excellent idea. Her seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. Have you been lured by this abyss of amusement as well, Kimiko? Hello, Thaumaturge Guildmaster. Kokobuki. A guide to souls lost in the madness. Commendable. I myself would welcome a nudge in the right direction. I seek the diversion in which a void-sent creature, one summoned by the thaumaturgical arts of my own guild no less, is featured most prominently. Know you of such an attraction? Well, as we consider the answer, Any Way the Wind Blows, I believe, is the correct answer because, of course, the pink flying thing, Funga, I think is the name. I'm totally brain bombing right now. Well, is a void scent, as we heard in the description, or actually, as we read in the description in the quest line for the event. The main part that is, if you didn't read that, well, it tells you that Funga is a void scent. Anyway, Trouble Triad is clearly a card game. While there are cards with Void Scent on it, I don't believe that qualifies as being a Void Scent. And of course, Covaker is a punching game, so again, no Void Scent there. Unless, of course, you're a Void Scent and you're punching the punching thing. Anyway, Any Way the Wind Blows is, of course, the correct answer. So Typhon, not Funga. Funga is what she does. She sneezes. Funga! Or is that the other creature? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So Typhon is here. I must inspect the measures employed in his containment. Oh, he's a he, not a his, a she? Aye, why am I confusing these things? So Typhon is here. I must inspect the measure employed in his containment and ensure there is no danger to the populace, if you will excuse me. Yeah, I totally know what I'm talking about, and I'm totally convincing, aren't I? Kokobuki seems greatly appreciative of your answer. Oi. And of course, now that is the third NPC, so will be evaluated now by the NPC that was standing here. Thank you, Mistress Miko. You've given me the chance to attend to several other vital duties. Now shall we review your performance? Well, I'm happy to say that every guest seemed well satisfied by your recommendations. An admirable display of service. Has anyone spoken with you about becoming a full-time employee? But putting such matters aside, we appreciate any effort made towards maintaining the saucer's reputation for hospitality. Dismissed! Oh, and don't forget to return to the entrance square and collect your wages from the chief attendant. And, of course, we will go and do that, and I will pick up the quest and then be over by the other location, which will be somewhere here. I think it's like up over there, the Wonder Square. And here we are, except I said it was up over here, but it is in fact down over here. Clearly. Anyway, Gold Saucer Guy, thank you for coming. Are you ready to begin your shift? Excellent. Our guests await your assistance. Yeah, I know you heard me almost say the word that isn't supposed to be said. Or, well, shouldn't be said. Anyway. Well, if it ain't the infamous Kimiko. You here for play, or is it other mischief you've got in mind? And we, of course, have the Rogue Guildmaster, which is ironic because I am currently the ninja class right now. Anyway, honest work, is it? You're an odd cove, lass. Odd Cove, lass, but that don't mean I won't take your advice. Tell me, which of these games is more like to get a bloke's blood racing then? Preferably something what rewards nibble-do beaters and a disregard for danger. Well, that is, of course, as I mentioned before, the cliffhanger, because it has those, goblin bombs, and you have to time your maneuvering around, or just being a dairy-do, and running through before they explode. And if they explode, they will try to knock you off, or back, or forward, etc. So on and so forth. Anyways, and Moogle's Paw and Any Way the Wind Blows is clearly not one of those things that, well, gets your adrenaline going. Oh ho, dodging bombs, eh? Now that sounds like a lark. Thanks for the idea. Jack seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. Excuse me, sorry to bother, but I'm afraid I'm feeling a bit lost. And of course I haven't accepted this guild quest yet. This is the Goldsmith's Guild Master, Serendipity, who has an awesome name, if I might add. Could you point me in the direction of one of the less intimidating attractions? Perhaps due to my occupation, I have a weakness for all things small and well-made, and squealingly adorable if I'm being honest. Well, that is of course the Verminion, Lord of Verminion specifically. Anyway, so it's clearly not Any Way the Wind Blows. There is literally nothing cute about that. Likewise with the Slice is Right, unless of course you think Jombinjo, whose name I'm still killing, or his dog, is cute. Well, okay. But Lord of Verminion clearly has a lot of minions that are very, very, very cute, and of course are small, and literally what she just described, so of course Lord of Verminion. And yes, I can blabber more if you'd like. Oh, you wouldn't? Okay, so armies of clockwork dolls all squeezed together in one tiny arena. Eee! Sorry if I killed your ears. Or am I? Serendipity seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. Yeah, I am having a little bit fun with this. My dear adventurer, I would have thought you far too busy and stiflingly straight-laced to frequent a den of frivolity such as this. I can read and speak and whatever. And here we have Gegaruju, who is the Costa del Sol. Well, I'm gonna go with proprietor because he kind of like owns that area and takes care of it and all that sort of stuff, so. Ah, well, that explains it. Seeing as you've taken a position to serve, I see no reason to call upon your services. I am, shall we say, an admirer of beauty of the kittenish kind. Is there some simple amusement which might also indulge my discerning gaze? And let me be clear, I am a creature of comfort entirely unsuited to exertion or exhaustion. Well, as we consider that answer, at first I thought it was triple triad because, well, you're sitting around and just playing a card game, but apparently, according to him, that requires him to follow rules and think, which sounds exhausting. So, yeah. Anyway, so Leap of Faith is clearly not the choice for him. We would be curious to see what he says to that, but the answer is, of course, the Moogle's Paw then, because, as I mentioned before, it is a very simple thing where you just basically press buttons, and he seems to be overly excited about that. Just a few button presses, you say, and some lovely young bunnies lounging nearby into the bargain? While I'm more of a cat lover, variety is, after all, the spice of life. Gegaruju seems greatly enthused by your suggestion. Thank you, Mistress Miko. I'll not ask you to sacrifice your entire afternoon. Do allow me, however, a quick word to summarize your performance. Perfect! Simply perfect! Why, our guests might mistake you as one of our full-time employees. Evaluations aside, we stand by our promise to reward those who work to maintain the Saucer's reputation for hospitality. The chief attendant will pay your wages back at Entrance Square. Well, I do frequent the Gold Saucer basically every single day. Yeah, so it obviously doesn't give you an introduction to all of the different side, mini-games, etc. that can be found in the Gold Saucer, but it does give some descriptions to a fair amount, and who they're better suited for in terms of NPCs for lore purposes and such. After I turn this quest in, I will give a little recap of who and what and where and who and what and why is what. Can I be any more confusing? Yeah? Okay, let's be more confusing. Alrighty, so just to recap, in the event square we have the Pugilist Guildmaster, the Gladiator Guildmaster, and the Minor Guildmaster in that order. With the Pugilist Guildmaster, Cuffaker is the correct answer. With Gladiator, Slice is Right is the correct answer. And with Minor, the Leap of Faith is the correct answer. If we move over to the Wonder Square, we have the Rogue Guildmaster, the Goldsmith Guildmaster, and Gigaruju from Costa del Sol. And the correct answer for Rogue Guildmaster is Cliffhanger. The correct answer for the Goldsmith Guildmaster is Lord of Verminion. And for Gigaruju, the correct answer is Moogle's Paw. If we now move over to the round square, we have Gerald, and then we have the Arcanist Guildmaster, and then we have the Thaumaturge Guildmaster as well, Kokubuki. And I just had to say his name because I like saying his name. Anyway, the correct answer for Gerald is the Crystal Tower Striker. For the Arcanist Guildmaster, the correct answer is Domin Mahjong. And with the Thaumaturge Guildmaster, Kokubuki, yes, I had to say the name again, is the Any Way the Wind Blows. And that is the summary of the repeatable quests. And it is a very cheap, easy way to get 100 MGP as you wait in between gates or while you're waiting for a queue for a roulette. This is also especially handy if you don't want to play the minigames yourself. Anyways, that is it for this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and please also consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on the next video. Next week, I will be having as part of my guide series, no promises on when this video will be out, about the Gold Saucer and in more details of what the different events are and some tips for collecting and gaining MGP. And of course there are various different prizes, some of which that are on discount as part of the event that you can exchange for your MGP for various things. In my first video of the Make It Rain campaign, I have a clip of the various furnishings of the minigames, 3 of which are only available during this event. The other 3 are on discount during this event. And I also have a clip of the different mounts that you can get from the Gold Saucer. Those unfortunately are not on sale, and some of them are very expensive. I think the highest one is 3 million MGP. Also, as part of this event, there is a 50% increase to the MGP rewarded in any of the things. Plus, if you're in an free company, or guild, as other people might refer to it as, anyway, in a FC, if they have the Gold Saucer buff, you will get additional MGP as well. So, if you are able to have that with your FC, definitely utilize that throughout this event. Before I ramble more on this video, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching!